everybody, to Bar of DeMOCKracy. That's M-O-C-K. Easily the internet's most random show that you'll come across. We have no idea who our host or hostess will be. We have no idea what our topics will be. But we know it's Friday night and we're doing it right. And there's only one way we do it, and that's the fuck 'em fam way. Y'all ready to smash the fash? Let's meet the gang, shall we? Oh, shit. Oh, it's Friday night. Are y'all ready to party?
Absolutely.
Hot diggity damn. Well, let's see here. As you just said, happy bump stock day. The Supreme Court decided that there's no need for us to actually be safe in our in the schools and everywhere else. So churches, restaurants, arcades, weddings,
movie theaters.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty astounding, really.
The whole country.
It can be that way, but it's like all for, jeez.
Yeah.
Wild Wild West.
It's complete.
I thought this was a bring your bump stock party. Didn't you bring yours? Come on.
Yeah.
Dang it. I've forgotten mine.
Oh, no, their take on it was like, oh, look, haha, to the ATF. And they were clinging to, they won something against government. And you go, that wasn't, so, okay.
Yeah, that's not how that works exactly. And the thing that really is just super annoying is just how Trump managed to wriggle out of the one bit of gun control that he passed. That's so infuriating.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Because they let him, he says it and they go, oh, okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm. That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Not allowed one anymore, is he?
No, but that's what they want. They want the dictator to pass the buck on everyone. He already does that with everyone else. We see all the other criminals that are going to jail.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the phrase he's going to use now, instead of "I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and get away with it," he's going to say, "I could ask someone to shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and get away with it."
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Pretty
Okay.
much.
That's fine.
Pretty much.
And, he always has the plausible deniability, like, because Roy Cohn taught him how to make sure that he wriggles out of anything. Let's see here. What other fun things do we have? Okay, so this was pretty cool. Yeah, horrible at the same time.
Great news.
Yeah.
So the Democrats forced the Republicans this week to vote not only on IVF, but also on women's health care, and showing their cards. They might be able to say one thing on television, but when it comes to the votes, we all know that's where the rubber hits the road. And, as you can see, the Republicans only care about controlling women because IVF is for birth. One thing that they always have against Democrats is they say that abortion is because Democrats want to, quote unquote, kill babies, which, by the way, if y'all saw, that clip was completely debunked. Yeah, absolutely wonderful. I'm so glad we needed that so bad. But if they're trying to ban IVF, tell me why. Because if I'm not mistaken, that adds to birth, correct? Right? But because the Southern Baptists have a problem with it, now all of a sudden this is everybody's problem because you're dead dude on a stick and your magic book makes you think differently than the rest of everybody else that has common sense.
And I bet you there's a bunch of Southern Baptists that have gotten pregnant through what? IVF.
100%.
Dumbest shit I've ever heard. And I'm tired of the dumbest shit every day. It's like some new stupid shit for women, I'm like, oh.
Oh, well.
Sorry.
The sad part is that they're trying to act like saviors by trying to create a nice legislative cushion around things like IVF. They're the ones that created the problem in the first place, and now they want a victory lap and a pat in the back for creating a crisis.
I'm like, well, you just pissed off all, you know. I mean, you already pissed off. We're Romad. We're, you know, contraceptive. But now they come for IBS, and I'm sorry, a lot of people on different sides of whatever use that.
Mm-hmm. Well, they never thought things through in the first place. Remember, the other thing they did with a lot of their state-level legislation was they said that, or the effect of the language of the legislation was that people who were undergoing treatment for cancer could no longer receive it in case they got pregnant, because the cancer treatment would kill any fetus in the womb. They caused untold hardship and problems for so many people. Some folk had to go out of state to get that treatment because they could afford to. How many couldn't? You know, how many people are sickening?
IVF is not cheap, and
No.
You know, no. I mean, it's just a lot. Just to even prep for them even to extract eggs. I mean, all the shots that you have to give yourself, and then once they, I mean, it's awful. So I'm happy that I never had to suffer like that, but I know so many people out there that have, and it's awful. It's hell. It's hell. You know, when people really want a child and of their own, and they can't, and they're trying every single thing they can. I just don't understand why people just want to take away people's joy.
Well,
some people get their kicks stomping on a dream. I believe Frank Sinatra said it. Sinatra, sorry.
Bullshit. Like,
Cruelty is the point.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, chat. What was the name of that service that they were using in Idaho? That was a group of, I believe it was lady pilots who are flying people out of state to get health care. That'd probably be a really good resource for people to know about.
I wish B was here.
Yeah, B knows that.
Yeah. She has the skinny on that, for sure. So
let's reach into the Choppa Hoppa and find out who our host is, or hostess is tonight. Can I get a drum roll, please?
That's not a drum.
Oh shit, it is General Derek, the meme general himself.
What's up, Derek?
congratulations.
Folks.
So, let's find out what you got for us today, man.
Well, the Supreme Court gave us the topic. They just handed it to us.
Oh, really? Is it?
They did. We're going to talk about guns.
Oh. Maybe that's because of the bump stock vocation and how we're all of a sudden in that much more danger.
Every day.
Thank you, Supreme Court.
You want me to read this out?
God, you can have a gun to do bad things with, but you don't have a choice to do what you can with your body, people. A gun has more rights than any woman right now. There you go.
Anything you can stick your penis in has more rights than the.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty sure some have tried to do that with a barrel or something.
Oh, I'm sure there's some sort of like AR-15 fleshlight attachment.
Mm-hmm.
That is so fucked up.
I mean,
No pun intended.
I grew up.
Nope.
You know, I grew up I grew up with guns. I learned all about gun safety, and I learned that you don't need something that fires at an automatic rate in order to hunt game.
You're going to ruin it if you shoot it with that anyway. You're going to ruin deer, especially if you're going to get it processed and have the meat. I mean, you're not going to shoot a deer with that.
They need the extra lead in their diet so they can blame Fauci.
Well, I mean, actual hunters realize that your gun is not as accurate.
Well, maybe there's a I think you maybe hit the nail on the head there with your statement. Maybe that's what they're trying to do. With these bump stocks, they can now shred the animal as they kill it, put it in a bucket, and it's easier to take home. You don't need to take it for processing.
Well, let's go ahead and stop beating around the bush. And the idea of making you to get bump stocks is so that the white Christian nationalist army can change ammunition quicker when they decide to do what it is that they decide that they want to do.
More lead down fucking range.
Oh, I am sure that a lot of these people are going to find out if they use bump stocks that their weapons jam a heck of a lot more than they thought they would. It's going to be really annoying for them.
I believe they'll also find out that, if I'm not mistaken, if you purchase a bump stock,
guess what?
It's kind of on your record, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you have to register them or not.
I don't know.
We'll find out.
But that's all part of the registration process. They don't want any registration. It's not just the bump stocks or sites or anything like that. Is any part of it that required registration. They wanted nothing of it.
Yeah. It's like even the military's new rifle is not fully automatic because there's no point.
There's no point. You should be a better shot than it being automatic.
Well, if you properly know how to use a semi-automatic weapon, you know it's short, small bursts.
Yep. Why are these weapons in the hands of civilians? These are weapons used on a battlefield.
Because they let that thing expire when we had them banned, and they did, it was banned for like 10 years, and then
I remember.
And then they're like, "Oh, come on, didn't renew it." And I'm like, stupidest shit y'all ever. I mean, but of course.
Well,
that can spin us off.
Sorry, Derek.
If you go to the next slide, Skip, this will explain the incentive of all these weapons in this country.
Mm-hmm.
As of 2024, the number of firearms in the United States is estimated to be over 466 million, including guns in the hands of civilians, law enforcement, and other entities. It's important to note that these numbers are estimates, and the actual count could differ. The average gun-owning American has about 5 firearms, while nearly 22% of gun owners possess only a single firearm. The United States has more guns per capita than any other country, reflecting its unique cultural and historical views on gun ownership.
My Second Amendment. That's all I've heard my entire life. And I'm from California. We've talked about guns here so much. Because there's so much shit we get both ends of it. We get the random mass shooting, and we get the gang violence. We see it all. And it's always guns. And they always go, but my guns. It's the only way I can prevent myself is from the guns is more guns.
Like a guy with a gun bullshit, all these excuses.
And nothing's changed.
The numbers alone should fucking terrify people. That's more guns than people.
Well, people should have been when they first started going into schools and shooting little fucking kids. That tells you exactly where everybody's fucking morals are. They don't give a fuck. As long as they can have their gun. Too bad about the fucking kids.
Once they decided that was worth it, they didn't care. And we figured that out way back. Mm-hmm. Way back at least 15, 20 years.
John, what country was it in England that once there was a mass shooting? I think it was New Zealand. They had one mass shooting and that was it. They fucking...
Yeah. New
Zealand is near Australia.
New Zealand's got more lax gun laws. That's why we've had some shootings in New Zealand. Australia clamped down on it.
Is that who it was?
And then they clamped down on it after an incident called...
It was the Port St. Arthur massacre.
Yeah. Hold on a second. What was that, John? What was that, John?
The whole bump stock issue.
No, just saying that you had the Australian situation where they clamped down, and in the UK, the trigger for that was the Dunblane massacre, where a scout leader massacred a bunch of kids.
As you were saying, Shuby?
And after that,
The whole issue with the bump stocks came to light during the Trump regime, like that Las Vegas shooting.
Yeah, that was the only piece of gun legislation that he passed. And that was one of the only things that you would ever hear any of the, I suppose, the criticism that he ever got from anybody on his side was that he passed the bump stock law. And the fact that his handpicked Supreme Court just removed that now strikes that little icky black mark from their cult leader's record.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Well, they're probably getting money from the NRA too, so.
Not a problem.
Yeah, that's a perfect caveat. Could you throw the next slide up, Skip, please?
Absolutely could. No problem. What have we here?
See, we have an incentive. And this is why this is not going to be fixed, is because gun manufacturing industry is substantial. According to reports, gun manufacturers globally make about 20 billion a year. In the US, the annual revenue for guns and ammunition manufacturing industry is 13.5 billion, with a profit of 1.5 billion. Smith and Wesson alone made $1 billion. They're not going to stop selling guns. So we have to figure another way to do something.
My kitty's being a baby.
Well,
right
if you actually saw that speech that Biden gave recently for gun control, it was a campaign speech, and the amount of thunderous applause that he received, especially from the younger generation, because luckily, we didn't grow up doing mass shooter drills.
I guess I'm the youngest of you guys. I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
it was normal.
High school. Yeah.
we had a lot of people. I grew up in kind of a rural area. It was just, never ever would I have dreamed that anybody would come into a school and do that, because most everybody I knew were very responsible with their guns. My brother had them, and I've grown up with him, and he liked to hunt and stuff like that, but just.
Exactly. I'm seeing also gun owners in the chat. They're sounding off. We have responsible gun owners who, by the way, the left is armed. I hate to inform you, you crazy fucking Christo-fascists, but we are armed. We just are not ammosexuals, and our personalities don't revolve around what's inside of the magazine. But people sounding off, they all agree. These are people that own firearms who talk about, yes, there needs to be sensible firearm control. It's not like granola eating hippies who are like, hey, we shouldn't have guns. It's, no, I do have a gun because I live in America, but I know how to safely handle it. I know how to properly store it, and I don't need 16 of them.
Well, they said that the average owns 5, right?
5.
They're right there.
5.
Yeah.
The average American owns 5. The problem is we're not going to get rid of guns. That's a given. They're here to stay. So now we need to control who has access to these weapons, and you can lose them if you act like a dick.
God, background checks. Is it not that hard? Have you ever seen the video where there's an 18-year-old kid? No, he's 17. I'm sorry, 17. And he can walk in, and it's harder for him to buy porn than a gun. Like, they won't sell him the porn, but he bought the gun. Like, it's on video. Everybody can research it.
The kid goes into the store now and goes into a pharmacy, and he's trying to buy condoms or contraceptives. and he goes in, and instead of saying, I'll have 2 bags of potato chips, 20 Slim Jims, and everything else he can think of to avoid asking for the one thing, and then he kind of slips in the request at the last minute. Now they're going to do that with guns. I'll have 10 of those, 20 of those, and a pistol, please.
It shouldn't be that easy, man.
That's awkward.
Well, it is.
Oh, it shouldn't be.
I mean,
Shouldn't be that easy.
It's absolutely disturbing when it's easier when actually somebody is denied a dirty magazine over something that could end each of our life. And like, if you count each of these squares right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's 8. There's 15 in a magazine.
Yeah. Maybe there's a skit that could be made out of that. The kid comes in and says, I want to buy a pistol, and the guy says, well, sure you wouldn't like a dirty magazine to start off with? A beer instead.
Maybe if you started off with this, you wouldn't feel the need to use the gun.
Yeah.
That's right. There's a world of rites of passage to go through before you get to guns, kid. Come on.
I know, like the Proud Boys do the whole semen retention thing because they're just angry at their crotches for some reason.
There's method to my madness, because now when people are sat down and they want to talk about healthcare in terms of abortion, they're required by law to have all the alternatives discussed instead. So why not do the same with firearms for kids?
Oh, hey, what's up, Allison?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
How's it going?
How's it going? I fell asleep.
Oh.
I can't make up something, even sexy. I just fell asleep. Probably mouth open.
You must have needed it.
Yeah, no, it was a long day. I had a presentation to give at a conference, so after dinner, I just kind of closed my eyes for a second, and I blinked, and it was after 8. So I'm like, fuck.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
You mean you don't have a letter?
What was your conference on?
Got my buddy Daisy. So, it's annual conference for librarians who teach in different things. So it could be you teach a course, or you teach one-shot classes, or just basically anything related to that. But mostly academic librarians go to it, even though it's open to everybody. It's mostly academic librarians that attend it. So I was talking about my fake news course that I teach, and getting over yourself when it's politically divisive content that you might be teaching. We all live. Most of us live in Georgia. Well, no, all of us lived in Georgia. So yeah, I just talked about the class that I did about fake news and how to handle being uncomfortable. Well, not that I'm uncomfortable, but I am very thoughtful in how I teach certain subjects. So I don't get anybody calling their uncle who calls a state legislature, who calls the governor, and before I know it, I'm woke and doxxed by MAGA. And you know what? It's so absurd that I say that, but it's not it's not that far out there of a scenario that could happen.
No, it's really not.
It could happen.
My wife and I were discussing about fake news and misinformation, and we was discussing how AI is looking more and more and more realistic. They still don't have the fingers down quite yet, but eventually they will. And I really hate to say it, but good God, are there some dumb people that fall for AI? And that
it's not getting the number of fingers right?
I think I made AI that the chick had popcorn hair almost, and no face and 3 boobs.
3 boobs?
So yeah.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said that so emphatically. 3 boobs?
What?
Still hot.
But enough about Total Recall.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, of course. We know you were.
I saved it because it was that horrifying.
This is why we're friends.
This is why we're friends.
But
Why you know me and I know you.
But going back to that, we watched the Walter Masterson video today where he interviewed protesters at the Trump Bronx rally. And it was refreshing to see people who lived in the Bronx looking at all the people who don't live in the Bronx who were coming there for the cult meeting and being like, just straight up, just giving the truth. There was one gal, if I'm not mistaken, it said, so what did Trump do for the black community? What did she say? He knew a fucking thing.
Oh God!
Is that what she said?
Ain't done a goddamn thing.
I'm pretty sure she dropped the F-bomb.
This was when he was in the Bronx.
Yeah. It's a great video.
It was pretty good.
We'll be releasing it here.
I don't believe one person was actually from the Bronx that went to that thing.
I'm sure.
I promise you, it's probably 90.
I'm sure there was a small percentage out of
90% his friends.
Well, out of curiosity too, I mean, like Tony was saying, it's a carnival and people wanted to see the carnival. But as you could see from that rally and then the one in Vegas and in Arizona, people are walking out because, he's talking about crazy ass shit like sharks and batteries.
Yeah, that shark thing was pretty wild.
Well, just remember as well that if we want to be as diligent as others are about finding out who attends these rallies, then we should do what Clay Higgins did and go scouring around for footage of white buses with lots of people coming in and out of them. I'm sure there were plenty of those on scene.
Oh, the ghost buses.
The ghost buses, yes. With the tiki torches stuck on the top, and
It's a good idea.
And all those people travel around like, in those caravan things and with their merch, and they go to all of that shit too.
Well, and those people are obviously very concerned that inflation is killing them. That's why they turn up at every rally.
Well, I mean, if I
just want to know if that dark Brandon economy isn't kicking the way that it is. How can you afford all that Trump merch? And be able to donate in the gas.
Everybody's doing the same shit. You're like.
Oh, that was the other thing about all those. Remember all those people in the interviews who kept complaining about how bad the economy is, and then talking about their jobs and how they lost their jobs in this economy, but they wouldn't say why. But we can all probably guess it was because they said something stupid and upset a lot of people, and no one wanted to work with them. So now they have all the time in the world to go to rallies. Not that they're dedicated; they've got nowhere else to go.
Probably. You're probably not wrong either.
Nope.
They're probably banned from the town hall, banned from the library, banned from the cinemas.
Jesus.
The board of education meeting for the schools too. They're banned from that.
Banned from Chuck E. Cheese. Wait, what?
Yeah, definitely banned from school board hearings. I would think so. After all the shenanigans that they've been up to.
That brings us to our first Twitch shout out. Let's shout out to Marjorie, Kim, Triple, Theron, Cynthia, Mellow Trucker, Naps Girl, Vixen, Kelly, and Hammer. And Kelly came out with a good one, and Cynthia, they were all talking about this. Kim asked, "What happened to the trucker convoy?" They went.
Oh, wow.
And
I forgot about
They're the
that.
ones that were driving all around together, and all of them were selling the same shit. And
They
were
failed.
Online, somebody say, "I need a tire," and they would go, and people would buy them a tire and shit. Talk about grifting. And I'm like, you mean I can go driving around and get my car fixed for free?
Well, there's a nice low-tech way to deal with a convoy. As soon as they stop, everyone steals their tires. Job done.
I was laughing my ass off because did you ever see the footage of the one trucker convoy that was headed down to the border, and they all ended up like there was like some people like almost like fist fighting in the parking lot, and then there's like classic rock blaring over here, and then there's someone's horn alarm just going. It's just this pile of fuckery.
Remember when they did all those baptisms in the pea water? Ugh.
The horse trough.
They paid like $100 to do it in a trough. Jesus in a trough. You know, I mean, I don't know. It's just weird.
Remember they co-opted the kids' camp and stole all the food?
Yeah, they did.
Yes.
They totally stole all the food.
Yeah. What a bunch of great Christians.
We need it more than you do. I don't care if you're a child.
Weren't they supposed to stop the invasion?
It was like a Christian camp.
What was that, Shuby?
They were supposed to stop the invasion. They were supposed to stop the invasion coming over the border, right?
Yeah.
They stopped the invasion by eating all the food.
Yeah, the only thing they invaded was that
They
camp's
couldn't come over.
pantry.
They were too hungry. Yeah, that's
Somebody's
right.
pantry, yeah.
You can imagine that, can't you? Like, people are airdropping food supplies across the border to keep people supplied as they go through there illegally, and then the only way they can deal with the problem is to go up and eat the food. So the immigrants come up and find like empty packets and wrappers, just trash, and a little note.
All I can say is that looking at those guys, they were well equipped to deal with that problem.
Right, every single one of them was Navy SEAL. Yeah.
I feel bad for that town because all of the crazies were in this town, and I was like, these poor people that live here, you know, and oh, jeez.
They're like, hey,
They're probably going, oh,
stop buying all the meth in our town. We need some.
yeah. All the
Thing
stores
is,
are locked up.
Do you think in their heads when they all drove back, or probably more accurately dispersed, that they all thought that worked really well? We should plan to do the same thing again next year in the same town.
They probably said, "Amen." That's probably what they said.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yep. So next year on February 3rd, they'll be doing it again.
Really? Wow. I wonder if it'll be
You think they're going to have?
Mad if you give kids free lunch.
I wonder if it'll be the same as the trucker convoy up in Canada, where they permanently tried to wreck our economy by leaving that bridge blocked. And then if you watched any of the live stream, there was like so many with like Russian accents, like bad actors. And then the
Canadians in that con.
then the Give Send
Just
Go
saying.
ended up getting busted for being connected to Russia. It's like and then Ron Johnson is
you
connected to
can't-
Russia, and Sessions is connected to Russia, and like
To come
R
down.
no longer stands for Republican.
What's that,
That's
dude?
true.
R stands for Russian.
Like,
Well,
so caravan, there was people from Canada in this caravan, and I'm thinking,
no, it was a caravan.
yeah, there was when they were
Caravan?
there's some of those people that are Canadian that are in stream, and I'm like, look, dude, you
Convoy.
can get in Canada if you got a DUI, you know, but are they just do we need to start worrying about that one? But they had to drive all the way down to Texas, the dumbest shit. And they don't even live here. I'm like, you know how far away you are?
they really have to be concerned about the American border to cross over their own border and drive all the way through America to go look at the bottom border and not even visit Mexico.
I have seen the problem.
There's
Right.
there's a big chunk of truckers, independent truckers in USA that are Russian nationals. So I'm sure someone in Mellow
good.
Trucker in our chat, he's actually a driver. I'm sure he knows a lot about the Russian nationals. I don't know why or what percentage, but it's like that.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
very
I remember.
interesting.
I never knew that.
Like,
Is that the right?
That could be a logistical problem.
Their whole thing
I know,
in
especially when-
mass.
Hey,
yeah, if you get to like New York City with, national, a foreign national in a big truck, how many explosives can you put in a 53 footer? It could be a problem.
Think of it positively. If they're Russian, they're always there on time, or even ahead of time.
That's a good point.
Well, the thing is they
Russia's
always
going through some shit. So.
Oh yeah. Actually, go ahead and go into that as we were talking about earlier, Derek.
Crazy shit, yo.
Yeah, Russia's going through some things. They're probably going to be reformatted as a nation, and just like in '91, I think it was, when they fucked around and found out, and Afghanistan.
Fall of the Soviet Union, you mean?
The fall of the
Yeah.
Soviet Union. Well, 2.0 is coming, but there's no guarantee it's going to be better. It may just reformat back again and start all over.
Well, I mean, their economy is the lowest it's ever been. I mean, they literally only have like vodka and bears.
It's so wrecked now that people are trading their rubles for dollars because they have no money.
The sanctions finally hit.
Oil is a big thing for them. Selling oil.
What was that, Allison?
Yeah, well, they have no refineries left. Ukraine has bombed over 30% of their refineries. They have no oil.
What was
They're
that?
actually sending oil out to be refined and then shipped back in to satisfy domestic demand.
What was
the
that?
only thing keeping them afloat is China and North Korea. It's the only thing keeping them afloat now.
Okay, what was that, Allison? I've been
Yeah.
I heard you talking, but I've been trying to get you on the line.
Oh, I was just mumbling under my breath. I'm like, ooh, North Korea, the powerhouse. Like, North Korea. They can't even send a bomb to a trash can in their own country. They think they're going to lob a bomb at us.
Speaking of garbage.
That there's some Russia things around in Florida.
Yeah. That's what I gotta say.
Yeah.
Speaking of garbage, they're like flexing their warships around Cuba. In the meantime, they're getting their asshole kicked in over in Ukraine.
Pretty
And
hard
I guess
too.
In the Black Sea.
The Admiral had to do something, right?
From growing up, like in the movies with like Red Dawn and shit, and you're just terrified of Russians, remember that shit? I do.
I remember when they were
I
the
do.
bad guys in movies. I remember.
Yeah.
What? They're where? I'm sorry, excuse me.
I remember that.
The Germans were probably happy because the Russians switched the role to the bad guys of the movies in the 80s.
Yeah, it was like, well, it was just like,
That's right, yeah.
Insert Eastern
Yeah.
European country here.
Yep, that was it.
Or
How is Russia losing warships in a land war?
they were actually all stolen, and they found
Because
them
the
out
Black
off the coast of
Sea.
Cuba.
Ukraine is using drones on their ships and sinking them.
Yeah.
They figure if they put the stuff off the coast of Cuba, then the drones can't reach them. That's what they're doing, really.
Yeah, they're
trying
safer
to
in
keep things
Cuba.
safe.
Their
Yeah,
boats are
right.
safer in Cuba.
The Cuba thing
Oh,
is such deliciousness this week. Is they tried to make it a thing, and then we're like, yeah, we know what they're there. What do you want us to do? Like,
Well, when they turned up, they all steamed in. Somebody said, the Iranians have been here for like 6 months.
Hmm?
We're not caring
I'm
about
sure
them
they're
either.
well aware.
Yeah.
yeah,
We knew.
Well, yeah.
They know when
Not only are they
can know
aware,
when China farts.
they're not only aware. There's a submarine or two looking at them right now.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
under crossfire. They're under
Yeah.
crosshairs right now. They don't want to
It's a
fight.
shame, isn't it? Because they can't extract Donald from Florida if everybody's watching them.
That's why they're there. You
That's
extract their fucking
true.
Donald Trump. That's fucking
Rescuing
rich,
their
Ron. That's
The
rich.
red fat ass. That's
Remember,
what- that's
Mar-a-Lago's got that secret tunnel right down to the beach. An
It
underground
does.
tunnel.
That's
Tell us
fucking
about
good.
it. Guys, come
That's why-
ashore, spray up that tunnel.
He had it installed.
it'll be
That's funny.
They wake
That's
up
why-
one morning, Donald's bed's empty, and there's just a whiff of cabbage.
It's like the Shawshank
Ew.
Redemption, only
Oh,
he didn't
I
actually
know.
put the poster back up. There's
Poor
just
girl.
the hole.
oh,
See, there's
But remember,
a reason.
they-
there's a
They can't use the
reason why.
submarine because he's too fat to fit in the portholes. And
He's
then
all-
the hatch.
Oh, probably.
he's also too fat and lazy to
You're not
paddle, so
wrong.
he's got Tony Ornato there paddling for him all the way.
He's got Stephen
Or
Miller
that
with a
Walter
fucking
guy,
paddle.
That Walter guy, he
Stephen
carries
Miller.
carries
Standing
Yeah.
at the head of the boat like George Washington, pointing the way.
No, hey, you all missed it. He needs muscles. Who's got the muscles to paddle?
Dan Bongino.
Dan Bongino on roids, all roided up.
You know,
No, he doesn't pedal. He just puts his face in the water and generates hot air.
you know, I'm
medium shirt.
I'm getting pissed off because did you see that manipulated footage that the New York Post used of Biden where he actually was going over and talking to a parachuter who landed, and then they were like, hey, we're doing the thing over here, and she went over and got his attention, and they cropped that out and made it look like he was just wandering off. I'm really getting tired of this, like,
that's
shit
really wrong.
It's so...
No, this is good.
It's so completely cynical, but yet at the same time, I'm glad that they're doing it this early because we can show these kind of examples.
It exposes them. It exposes them because it's like, if he's really senile and he can't hold it together, why don't you have any footage that you didn't lie about? Why do you have to lie?
Why is the economy better than it's ever been? Like, go ahead and tell us that. Like, I know MAGA's very angry that they can't gaslight numbers and that their weaponized justice narrative has fallen apart to the point where they have to make up conspiracies about their fucking conspiracies. But reality, kids, try it.
Yeah, but I mean,
even if
go ahead, sorry.
Rick Wilson put out a video, and it was kind of like a pep talk to the Democrats. And he was like, it was kind of like a Tony rant almost, but without curse words. And he's like, basically, everyone just shut the fuck up. NAGA is going to come at us with everything they got. They're going to say some horrible things. So get over being too good for negative partisanship. This is going to be the dirtiest, nastiest race we've ever seen. And no, I don't like it, but it's the reality we live in. So I think the left has to come to a reality too of we gotta do what we gotta do to, to get rid of, to do that.
Well, as we're seeing in these hearings, the Democrats aren't playing anymore.
Nope. It's actually refreshing to see them fight back and tell the truth.
And they're doing it in the bills too, or the stuff that they're failing to pass, which is excellent. It's showing who they are.
Oh yeah, especially on IVF and birth control and any or women's health care, any of that.
What they don't do is just as important. What they do.
But they're voting against it, so they're just not doing it. They're not doing it to make a point. And they did that with the border, and they said, well, Trump told us to say no, so we're going to say no because the party is telling us.
Well, the same goes for with them holding Merrick Garland in contempt when they won't do shit about Jim Jordan. And I think that I believe it was Keith Olbermann that said Garland should just turn right around and indict Jordan.
That would be funny.
You want to see a weaponized government? Here's a weaponized government.
No, and they'd be like, oh, okay, well, you avoided a subpoena from a congressional committee that was authorized.
What if Jordan turned on everybody and he's an asset? And that's why. I mean, it's probably not that cool.
He's too fucking
that would be
stupid.
great. Yeah, he is too
stupid.
That would be a cool plot twist.
We do know he knows how to keep quiet.
Jordan.
Well, did you hear his confession in the trial, the hearing the other day, where he turned around and he said he was trying to say you don't need to know anything about law to see that there's a problem here. But he ended up stressing his credentials, and he said, "Well, I'm an economics major. Well, my major was wrestling, and I got something on economics." But that doesn't take a legal expert to see, and I'm just looking at this and I'm laughing my ass off. This is the head of the Judiciary Committee.
Speaking of laughing your ass,
went to university to learn wrestling. I can learn it from TV.
Speaking of laughing your ass off about committee, how about Matt Gaetz wanting his little moment in the sun, being like, "We're gonna haul in Alvin Bragg," and is like, and they and then Jerry Nadler's like, "We already got the letter right here," and then Gates was just sitting there with egg on his face, and and then they tabled his motion, and they had no idea what to do. So they had to take 20 minutes.
Stop the hearing.
Yeah, they had to take 20 minutes to go in the back.
They stopped the hearing
and be like, "You realize either we're going to have to vote with the Democrats, or we're going to have to vote us on party line for a document that's already been submitted. You're fucking Muppet."
Couldn't have put that better myself.
What did Wilson call him? Like an orange grease-stained fuck Muppet or something? Really like that. But fuck Muppet is in the phrase. Fuck Muppet. I like fuck Muppet.
Nice.
Can someone make sure that never ever leaves?
Cheeto humping fuck nuggets.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Good.
This is where we're at.
Anything else in the chat, Tony?
Oh, jeez. Everyone's just laughing it up. Theron, who's normally here, shout out to Theron. Normally here, and he's hanging out in the chat with us tonight. He says, every special election has been a bellwether of things to come, I think. Is every special election they've had, they fucking lost.
That's kind of funny. I love when I see everybody on Twitter, whatnot, saying "You're gonna cope when Trump's gonna be your next president," and I'm like, is that why Republicans haven't won a single election since Roe was overturned and lost a seat in the House in New York and lost a deep red seat in Alabama and just overperformed in Ohio? Is that why? Oh, doesn't seem to be that. If I was a gambling person, I would say those are pretty bad fucking odds, as well as that red wave that never happened.
Yeah, you have to keep all those things front and center though in everyone's mind, because right now we're being bombarded with this stupid nonsense about Biden not being all there, not having the faculties to do the job, despite the fact he has two things that Donald Trump never had. He's got a capable administration who can work sometimes without him if needed, and he is all there. Trump never was.
Yeah.
And he's also got a big dick, which Trump never had.
That's right. That shit's genetic.
Yeah.
Are you referring to Hunter and the fact that the apple couldn't have fallen that far from the tree?
Well, mine.
Exactly.
Rather than the ball.
Unlike a Biden.
Wait, so
Marge certainly enjoyed it, didn't she? She was obsessed with it. She kept running around with pictures of it. Every opportunity she had.
Yeah, and fucking Boston Smalls took that
all in her bathroom and shit.
Yeah, can you imagine that? She's sitting there in a
has it.
panel where they're talking about giving extra baby milk for people because of the baby milk crisis, and she's in there going, "Have you seen the size of Hunter's chopper?"
I'm telling you, he missed his opportunity when he didn't trademark that shit. I would have.
I'm telling you, I just always think of that video that Boston Smalls recorded. First thing in the morning, he woke up. He hadn't even woke up, but he's cracking up, and he's like, "Oh my god, she's making him look like the coolest motherfucker ever." He's got this box over his giant dick, and there's just photos of him partying with prostitutes and smoking crack. She's like, "Are you just trying to make him look like a rock star?"
I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come.
Yeah, that was the one where you're going down the slide doing blow or something like that, right?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's certainly some fun experience that John Kennedy has never had. And I don't mean
Ding, 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 ding.
John F. Kennedy.
Missile launch.
I mean, I'm talking about Senator Strap-on.
There you go. How about that one? You get Jasmine Crockett with the 6 Bs.
Nazis.
You can do the same for
Big
Hunter.
bad bitchy built Biden.
Big bad, beefy built Biden bell and bulge.
My daughter knew about the song.
You might have one extra B in there. One extra B.
That's what Jasmine said on the interview. She's like, I had one more B in mine, but I didn't use it. I love the piece that they just did with Charlemagne the God on Daily Show, where he was talking about how Democrats actually need to learn to talk like regular people. And if I'm not mistaken, when we saw that press conference that Schumer came out after that IVF vote, that was like the most like street I've ever seen Schumer. Like,
yeah,
he was like close to saying "damn."
You wish for one day he would just do that, right? You heard a couple of "damn sons" or something like that,
or he just gets loaded at the bar one day, just like like Pelosi used to do, and just like hit the podium, and just one day just be like, McConnell, you weak motherfucker. We heard what you said after Jan 6 exactly on the floor, and now you're back to kissing the ring. I swear to God. I never knew that turtles were invertebrates.
Either Hakeem Jeffries is going to crack, or Chuck Schumer's going to crack, or one of them is going to crack. One of the other mild-mannered senators.
Yeah, Hakeem is their worst nightmare. I'm sorry, but he is.
He is
going to be the next Speaker of the House.
Easily.
Awesome.
Easily. Has anybody got any questions in the chat?
Don't bring up Jim Crow around.
Yeah, don't bring up Jim Crow around Byron Donalds, otherwise he'll try to sell you on it.
Yeah, and then get checked. And then he gets white-wifed, which was fucking beautiful.
Clarence Thomas and Byron Donalds both.
Yep.
Yeah, speaking of the fucked up court, so obviously it's been covered to death and back about Alito's wife, but I wanted to point out one thing, and I made a clip. It's going to be on Tony's channel, anywhere that you can find it. We can't put stuff on YouTube right now because we're the most banned show on the left, rock and roll, and that's the hypocrisy of Christian nationalism. If you listen, remember that part where she's like, "Bye, kitty. See you later. Meow, meow, meow." And then she's like, "She's a bad girl." Okay, now tell me she's not a bisexual swinger. Allegedly.
Yep.
Allegedly.
That was my very first thought. I was like, you hypocritical. You sitting there talking about you can't stand to look at someone's pride flag across the lagoon, so you want to fly your fake flag that you made to satisfy yourself, which is a weird way to put it. But then he's like, "Oh, she's a bad girl." Now, I'm sorry, you don't say that about somebody named Kitty that you just made meow meow sounds to, unless you've had relations.
I think she was petting her kitty.
I think it's a different kitty.
And gonna have relations. And gonna have relations.
Not that kind of kitty.
Maybe the reason that Sam Alito is such a bitter, resentful individual when it comes to women. Think about it.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just not getting any.
Maybe he ain't running things.
No, I think we've hit the button eventually, but it's persistence. We've talked about the Supreme Court and how shitty they have been for the last couple of years, and finally now I'm seeing it stick. Like now, mainstream's covering it, everyone else is covering it. It's just kind of broke even shitter, and it's there now. I'm seeing it more and more often, and that's the one thing that that's been missing is either persistence or because
the attention, constant focus.
Yeah, constant focus. If you're not constant focus, you miss one thing. You're like, yeah, I saw that 2 months ago, and everyone else will miss it because everything comes in every week. You'll see everything.
The rock that they got more about got so much smaller these days.
We got more news about Thomas and stuff that he didn't reveal this week, just like a couple days ago. Just a few more vacations, $500,000 vacations.
And this is what we've been talking about. It's not so much persistence, I want to say now, is as much as putting it as an info, like an infographic. You gotta put everything together. It's like, look at this. It's not just one thing, it's multiple things. You gotta put everything together. But to fit that in a meme, because people don't have an attention span more than 2 seconds. And
you could do it with the virtual coin jar and a picture of Clarence beside it, and then you could just have all the points where he's confessed to something or he's been caught with something. And
Like
just
a
have
test
this
jar, but...
jar of coins gradually filling up.
Hand in the jar.
Yeah. On top of it, just how much did Clarence really make out of this? And then ding, 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 ding. Jackpot.
The kicker.
See, Thomas has been around since 91. So that's, 33 years?
Mm-hmm.
Roughly.
It's long enough.
Nothing until this year with ProPublica coming out. Like, I watch 60 Minutes like almost every week, and they have a story from 2006 or 7 where he's in the motorhome saying he's just a good old guy, like going to Walmart. But the true story is that Walmart, that motorhome was paid for him or given to him by one of the rich donors.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost 20 years ago. That was 2007. That story from 60 Minutes.
So how many rulings has he made for those rich friends to fucking help them out?
Well,
before we even knew it by then.
Every one of his cases now are in judgment. They're in question.
You said
here's the difference is
right
back then that kind of story would back up their side. That's the part that I can't get over. Like I get it now, but I couldn't get over back then was, they were admitting their fault. But if they outed it, they thought they could get away with it. This is normal.
Well,
this is what we do.
They come up and they list all the things this week that they did, and then someone else comes out and says, "Oh, you forgot this one, and this one, and this one." No.
Yeah.
But if you're saying that Clarence Thomas has been in place since 91, and theoretically over that time he could be accepting a bunch of donations from... Who was his biggest donor? It was Harlan Crow.
Harlan Crow. And Leonard Leo is also in charge.
We had the Jim Crow era. We're now in the Harlan Crow era. There you
100%.
go.
100%.
Well, we luckily...
The motorhome was not even Harlan Crow. It wasn't him. It was another donor. So there's there's other big money donors. It's not just Harlan Crow. There's big money out there.
Well, but
it doesn't sound as good.
The most important part now is that not only is Sheldon Whitehouse, completely on this subject like a bulldog, but also now Jamie Raskin is simultaneously. And Jamie Raskin and Ayanna Presley, and I've also heard Jasmine Crockett as well. There's been a Stop Project 2025 group been established that is being specifically focused on. So between that and Senator Kennedy getting debunked on live TV about the whole late-term abortion myth that the right likes to spin, I mean, I can't think of a different way that the wind is completely at our backs right now, because everything that is worrying is even being reported by the mainstream media now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. If you go back
Project 2025 has now been put to the mainstream. I just saw Brian Tyler Cohen do a whole piece on it. And
he's all hooked in with
CNN
MSNBC, and Joy Reid's doing it too. As you were saying, what were you saying, Shuby?
Well, if you go back 6 months ago, no one said a word on mainstream media about Project 2025. No one. It wasn't talked about at all. Who just outed?
Yeah, we've known about Project 2025 since like 6 months ago.
Well,
nobody was talking about it.
It wasn't a common term.
We got the alert about it, and we created the hashtag right away, and pushed that hashtag in every video and every tweet, and it became such an organic thing that this is committee is the Stop Project 2025 committee.
Nice.
I don't want to be a handmaid.
No.
Neither do
Yeah,
I.
well, we don't
Or
know
send me
anybody
to
else.
be a
Though.
handmaid too.
I'm just a big fan of the Constitution. Think it's pretty cool.
I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah.
In the next, you know, you've got Jamie Raskin making his comments, and as you've said, other people are starting to pick up and comment on it now. They have to process what it is, read that 900 pages, and over time, their highlights, if you like, what they extract from that and how they message about it is going to improve. So in a month's time, I'm hoping there's going to be some major hysteria drummed up around specifically what these people are trying to achieve.
Well, Ayanna Presley did a great thing when she not only got the facts of it on record, but then Jasmine Crockett grilled somebody who actually helped to write it and got those facts on record. So now what I imagine they're doing, because their staff is younger and they understand people's attention span and they understand the importance of social media and the importance of making things so that it's easily digestible. I imagine they're all having the same kind of fucking meetings we're having now, only they're not streaming it live and calling it comedy.
You might be skipping.
Hi.
Yeah, you skipped a little. There's a question
Yeah, I
in the
think
chat.
like this.
Yeah, we're gonna pull it
think
up.
it was
Shout
Mel-
out to the chat again. Everyone's keeping busy up there. Mellow Truckgrass, is there a statute of limitations for those who received abortions in the past, or is that a bridge too far even for Texas? And Andrew was ready to answer that. Andrew, go ahead.
Yeah, so the Constitution explicitly forbids what are called ex post facto laws. So after the fact laws. Any law that will charge people with a crime that was committed before it was illegal is forbidden by the Constitution. So no, that is too far even for them.
So
Yeah,
because
I think they'll
It doesn't surprise me though anymore, though.
no, but that's what they're trying to do when we talk about abortions and even birth control now is you had birth control last night. Aha, we're going to get you now or something, because now they're creating the law. They're creating.
They're doing you know what they're doing in Texas? They're creating a civil code law where if you suspect somebody is leaving the state getting an abortion, you can sue them for up to like $10,000. Like it's like
That's
a bounty.
$10,000 bounty.
That's
For
ridiculous.
anybody that helps you, aids you, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
That's
disgusting.
not invasive in your life at all. That's not. That's small
No,
government.
that's not.
Such small government.
That's a grift.
some places
small
near like
government.
the border in like Lubbock or that area, they've made a stretch of road where it's like I guess they're, I don't know what they're going to do, pull people over and give them a pregnancy test. What the hell? Like, what?
Don't doubt it.
Yeah, in the land of shit, that's not happening.
Yeah,
Don't doubt it.
don't think that. Yeah, don't. That doesn't. That like that does sound
Don't doubt it.
like. I mean, if they carry a breathalyzer, I mean, come on.
We have the freedom to travel. We're supposed to have the freedom to travel throughout the 50 states.
Well, that was part of the hearing that they had with Sheldon Whitehouse on one side and Senator Kennedy on the other one, and Senator Kennedy just got he decided he was going to do that Hail Mary, and he was going to throw out that whole women having late term abortions
And a baby.
and,
baby.
and she not only told him the statistics, but also said, "You're insulting women." And no one has ever said that to his face. No one has ever said that to Republicans' face, is you're insulting women to think that they can't make choices about their own bodies, that apparently they're only good to make the baby and be a baby motel that the baby can check out in 9 months. But
woman
what do
has
you?
been aborted.
I suppose you can fill the rest of your time with cooking and cleaning and darning socks.
Yeah.
And it was a woman that did it.
Vixen brings up that point again that Tony's been covering on the show about personhood and fertilized eggs being persons and where that's going to lead us. We're talking about potential for life, which means no contraceptives. No contraceptives.
Mm-hmm.
And then nobody's going to get laid.
Right. Not just Republicans.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not like it was really bothering them to begin with. They're waiting for Elon to finally get the sex robots good and going.
Cherry 5000.
I think I read an episode of Heavy Metal about this.
You joke about it, right? But there is a very serious effect that could theoretically happen with that. They've tried to demonize this whole business of not just pregnancy, women's reproductive rights. They're demonizing the whole act itself. It's going to have such a chilling, polarizing effect. And their aim, if you recall, originally was we want more babies. Not just we want more babies, but we want more white babies to offset the immigration issue that they were complaining about. But what they're actually doing is they are putting people off the whole notion. There's going to be celibacy for everyone. They'll be like, nope, I don't want anything to do with that. Why would I go to a bar to meet someone? I don't want to get near anyone who's going to get pregnant. It's not that.
Yep.
And then anybody that can get pregnant is only going to hang out with other people that can get pregnant.
That's why if they consider the baby a person, then they can say we're just kicking out 2 people instead of 1. They don't see the extra how shitty it is.
What about life insurance policies? I think the ladies talked about this the other night. Just babies now. My child dies while pregnant. Do I collect life insurance? That's a person.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think there's another thing to think about.
Taxes?
Pregnancy insurance. You're
Holy
legally covered for any legal action.
Claim it on my taxes. I mean, what the heck,
They're making questions that don't need to be asked. They're making these questions come up.
Well, they want to run it up to SCOTUS.
They're making solutions for problems we don't have too. Like,
oh yeah,
exactly.
As if we don't have enough problems in the world,
Right.
They keep saying we could be helping children in one country or helping people at home, and they choose to spend 70% of their time focused on this.
Focused on an impeachment inquiry that has gone nowhere.
Yep.
Oh
yeah.
Because,
if you're talking about congressional time.
They can't focus on more than one thing at a time. So if you make them focus on more than 2, they're going to be confused. So let them do it, because then they won't be able to focus on something else like everything else they're fucking doing. It's 1 thing a week, maybe 2. They can't handle anymore.
Well, we know Jim Comer can't.
They're confused.
There should be a lot of people more angry about contraception, because I'm sorry, a lot of times we have to use contraception like birth control or whatever to help us with our cycles and all kinds of things.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
And if you bleed and you can't stop bleeding, what do? Well, they got to give you the birth control pill so it'll make you to stop bleeding and try to get you regular.
They didn't think of these things. Nothing that they came up with was.
They don't
I think contraception, including birth control, to regulate it, and I understand that. That's part of what my spouse has to deal with is part of it, and they don't understand that because they don't even ask their wives. It's not women saying this, and the ones that are saying this, you got to ask them, like straight out, reply to them going,
if you don't have a uterus, you shouldn't be making laws about them.
Well, they don't worry about it.
Right.
Because, go ahead, John.
No, I was just thinking, if their wives haven't told them about all these things by now, they're not going to tell them anyway. So.
I'm going to say they don't care because.
But then you tell them that, yes.
Oh God, you take birth control for period problems? Yeah, duh.
They don't care because their mistresses will always be able to get an abortion.
Listen, most men, if you start talking about period and blood, they're like, oh.
Yep.
I don't want to know. That's nasty.
They certainly will be able to get abortions.
I've been on vacation all week. The worst.
You look like you're suffering.
Yeah, you look terrible.
Life's tough, bro. Life's tough.
What are we going to do?
I agree with you.
And I'm like, it's okay.
Those are almost Dickensian conditions.
Yeah, look, there's a small child up a chimney. And there's another one saying, please, can I have some more?
That's because you're a man of culture. No, you're a man of culture. We appreciate that thoroughly. It was great having you on as a guest, man. Like, seriously.
Absolutely, John.
Yeah, it's so fun. Next week, I'm not going to be here because I'm going to be out of town, so...
Wow.
Your daughter's getting married, right? Is that...
Well, we're in the bachelorette party. She's not getting married till December, but since she's a teacher, so we're going to go ahead and do it now while we can, in the summer.
That makes sense, yeah.
So...
That's fun.
Vegas, baby.
Take
I had
pictures.
a Vegas bachelorette party, but I lived there, so it doesn't count.
I know. I've only been there.
Vegas
it was years ago. I haven't been in since 20-something years, probably. I don't care. I'm like, weed's legal there.
Hell yeah. You could.
Yeah, I haven't been there since I left in 2007.
Yeah, so it probably wasn't legal there. Yeah.
You can go to the swim up bar at the Mirage and see where Steve Bannon gets his mail delivered. Actually, no, he's going to be getting it delivered. Yeah, he's getting it delivered to his fucking CO now.
Nobody cares in Vegas. Like, nobody cares in Vegas. There's so many people in Vegas, and when we talk about being offended or something like that, the people that go to Vegas, if you're going to go there and be offended at something or...
Yeah, it's the wrong place to go, dude.
That's the wrong...
Don't go there. Nobody cares about you. It's okay. You do you, bro. It's okay.
You know who really doesn't care about people in Vegas? Locals.
Everyone. Because the hotels are run by locals, because those are people that live there. Come on. That's the point. We're done with everybody. And when we talked about like, the Trump thing last weekend or this past weekend, because we haven't been here since, is they don't care out there. The only weirdos you get there are the Trump weirdos. It's the same cult. It's the border runners. They went to Vegas. That's it.
Can you imagine them all kind of coming out of the casinos late at night having lost and muttering to themselves, well, if Trump was president, I would have won.
It's all rigged.
I thoroughly love the new Biden ad where it was just Trump going, I don't care about you. I just want your vote. And then I'm Joe Biden and I approve this message.
Yeah.
I love Dark Brandon. I want him to do more Dark Brandon.
He should show up more often.
I think he's playing it just right. I think he's doing it just right. Just enough, just the tip, guys. Just the tip.
I think he's saving.
He also does best when we let him be himself. Like, I really had no doubt that he was going to nail the State of the Union. I mean, I was still nervous because he could have bombed it, but like, he's been a politician for most of his life, so like, I think he knows what he's doing a lot of the time. I mean, it doesn't make me any less nervous. But at the same time, we're not talking about a politician like, oh, come on, dogs.
You know what I can't really stand is the
the-
fact that the right wing consistently has to say that Joe Biden was on uppers that night. All he was A, pissed, and then B, they have no problem with their God King being on uppers all the time to the point where he's sniffing
they don't
during
care.
interviews.
I care.
I think it would be great if he did one appearance where he comes in and he, he just pulls out a big jar, puts it on the podium, and it has uppers written on it or something like that.
Or he,
Just to play to the gallery.
or he goes to like do an interview with Tucker, and he hasn't completely cleaned his kitchen. He's still got like little like Scarface action going on, like the fly on Mike Pence's head, but instead it's just Coke on his nose.
I
take it.
forgot about the Mike Pence fly.
Oh, that was great. That was one of the best moments of history.
I was laughing my ass off
Political
because
history was
God.
Mike Pence's fly.
Wouldn't you like to be a fly on his hair?
no,
What's the summer fly favorite drink?
He was being anointed.
dude, Mike Pence thinks milk's spicy. Okay.
He thinks mayo is too much spice.
Yeah.
There were
yeah.
thousands of people in there, and he picked him. That fly picked him.
Well, they are attracted to shit.
He smelled like Trump. He smelled like Trump.
Disease and pestilence draws
Hey,
flies.
Yeah. Maybe that's why Trump got him. Think about it. If Mike draws flies, it means there's no flies on Donald.
I mean, he had COVID during
Eric,
his
is
debate.
Jesus behind you?
You know, actually,
Yes.
I'm looking forward to the next
Jesus
debate.
loves little children.
I just noticed that.
It's treasous.
That's funny.
It's treason.
Whose hand is that poking out above your head?
Jesus.
Jesus. Hey, Jesus.
Hey,
What's
Zeus.
up, Jesus?
What's going on?
So, yeah, the debates.
Peace be with you.
I'm really looking forward to those because either it's going to be where the rules are where Trump's mic gets cut off and he can't just holler over it, or he's not going to show up and Joe Biden's going to debate an empty podium. It's going to go two ways. Biden's going to run on his record, and then he's going to point out he's going to point out how his record is in every way better than Trump's.
Wouldn't it be great if he's sitting in debates and Donald tries to do his thing and then Biden holds up like a little cue card every time the mute kicks in? He can see the guy going for the mute because he does that. He just holds up a little card that says gag order, then he puts it down. Then Donald talks some more. And he just goes again and gag order, and he does it again.
John with the prop.
He's doing it, right? He gets to like the 10th time. Like, Judge Merchan wants a word.
Oh my God! Listen to
He
that.
lost his mind.
He does it again.
Apparently,
and
Trump lost his mind when Biden put out that ad with the when Biden was like, "Hey, I hear you're free on Wednesdays." I heard Trump lost his goddamn mind. Like, he was so mad.
That's outstanding.
Keep going.
The Lincoln Project got in his head.
I mean, it's not very difficult.
When is the actual debate scheduled? It's not for a Wednesday, right?
July 11th?
He won't do it because he can't go staring down.
No, it's in June 26th, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's June.
Oh, yeah.
Wednesday. It's a Wednesday then. He scheduled it for a Wednesday. That's funny.
That is funny. He ain't gonna show up, guys. There's no way he's gonna show up for that.
No.
Oh, did you not catch his comments? Apparently, somebody was quoting him today, saying that he would turn up, but he would do very poorly on purpose.
What? Are they projecting again?
He'll do badly on purpose. Well, we know he'll do badly on purpose, but that's because he can't do debates. Not because he's trying to scotch it.
We just know you're stupid. That's like being like, see, here's the thing. Like, I like shit in my pants. And just because you like to shit, just because you shit your pants at a party, you're like, no. This is like what I do. This is like my thing. You know, like everybody has like, some guys have like a hat they wear as part of their personality. Like, I shit my pants.
This is party trick.
Party trick, yeah.
Sorry, party trick.
Charity drink. Yeah.
Wrapped out poopy pants.
There's a gif out there of Peter Griffin from Family Guy making balloon animals from the product of his backside. I just want to qualify that.
Oh, Lord.
That's just the physical manifestation of what a Trump speech actually looks like.
Art balloon animal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Lord.
All right, chat. Anything else? Because I want to go ahead and thank Scottish John. Let's go ahead and give him a hand for showing up and hanging out with us on the Bar of DeMOCKracy. Episode 14, gang.
The back of it.
You cheeky bastard.
Come on, Cooper, man. If he can't do it, no one can.
All right.
I heard you make a mean gumbo.
Yes.
We're going to be having a gumbo party in the Discord soon enough, so keep your eyes to the sky, gang, because we'll definitely be back next week. And as always, if you give a good goddamn about your democracy, make sure you catch the Tony Michaels podcast every day. And we'll see you crazy kids later. Later, skaters.
Later, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching.
Everyone.